but I had heard about the Hadza, hearing a guy named David Cho speak about them on a podcast. David Cho? Anyway.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan, I think.
Right, I heard it on that podcast. Yeah. And I looked it up, and there was no videos of this tribe at all. And I was like, oh, shit. So I was at the time doing a TV show with the BBC, and we were filming in Zanzibar, an island off of Tanzania, so like right below Kenya. Yeah. And I was working with the television fixer, like a local guide, and we had finished this piece. We were doing this really cool coral reef that you can find there at the base of Kilimanjaro, like off the coast. And I said, hey, I've heard about this tribe called the Hadza. Do you know who they are? And he goes, well, yeah, actually, there's only a few left. They live in a very remote part of Tanzania next to this lake called Lake Eyasi. I have never taken anybody there. I don't really know the details, but I can definitely find someone who can help us. And I was like, yeah, man, let's go. So I had my camera with me and everything, and we did this trek into the middle of the woods and met this tribe of Hadza that really, again, hadn't really been covered before. Maybe they would see the occasional... Like, they're not as remote. The world isn't as remote as people think it is. Maybe there's some tribes in Papua New Guinea, maybe in the Amazon, that are, let's say, uncontacted, but generally the world is pretty well connected. So I can't say they've never seen a white guy before, but I mean, they weren't exactly on the path. So it was funny hanging with these guys because they speak with clicks. And like, for example, one of the guys' name was Ngong. That was his name. And they have pot there. They smoke a shitload of pot. I don't exactly know where they get it from, but they love to get high, and they love to go shoot baboons. And I said, well, why baboons? And it's because the meat tastes the best. Apparently, it's got this salty taste to it.
It's the munchies, dude.
I guess maybe it's the munchies, right? So we went out for 2 or 3 days hunting. I went back a couple more times, actually, with those guys, because it's so incredible being out there in the wilderness, because we're so, even for myself, I spend a lot of time in front of a computer. Like, yeah, I travel, but like you as well, a lot of our days are spent in front of computers.
Yeah.
But being out there for 2 or 3 days when all we're trying to do is hunt. So you wake up, you hunt. You take a siesta, you hunt that night too. You just go and you sleep under the stars, you eat what you catch, and they'll eat anything. We're talking like marmosets, we're talking antelope, we're talking little bush babies, whatever they caught, any kind of bird, bats, anything flying or crawling, we ate that. And even they're masters of honey. One really cool story about the Hadza as well is they have arrowheads, but they don't work with metal. So what they do actually to get these arrowheads for their bows and arrows is they go and they climb trees and they pull out honey from live beehives, and they get stung to shit. But this honey is worth so much money, and it's so dangerous to get, they can trade that honey for arrowheads or for whatever else they need, probably for pot, actually, as well. So we got stung by bees. We were hauling this topaz honey out of trees, and I got to see inside the life of true hunter-gatherers, something that doesn't happen very many places anymore. People might say they're hunter-gatherers, but people who are actually spending most of their day hunting is very rare. And the Hadza have decided to remove themselves from society, so it's not that easy to get a camera in there either. But we were able to make good friends and to find good contacts and made it happen. And then from then, man, my video got 14 million views, and then now there's been 100 other content creators go. So also interesting thing when you go cover something for the first time, what happens after, right?
The copycat effect a little bit, eh?
And YouTube especially. But as far as the location or the culture or the festival or whatever you film, right? If you go blow it up in the sense of like crack it open, put it on the internet for the first time, tourism comes. And tourism can be a beautiful thing. It can save events and festivals and people, or it can destroy places or people, right?
Yep.
I don't know what it's been like there recently. However, I hope that they've been able to manage it well. But yeah,
I've heard they got a McDonald's.
Oh no, I hope not. They wouldn't touch it. Actually, the funny thing was, we one day my guide brought us like just crackers, like bullshit packaged crackers, and these guys hadn't caught anything that day, and it was getting near evening, and they would not touch the crackers. They wouldn't touch them. Because they said, that shit's poison. We don't eat your processed bullshit, wheat, sugar crackers. We only eat basically like meat, and honey. That's what they do.